Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yato vacho nivartante apraapya manasa saha anandam brahmano vidvan na bibheti kutascha neti etagum havavana tapati kimaham sadhuna karavam kimaham papamakaravamiti. Ananda Mimamsa. Various gradations of Ananda we saw, and then one person is enjoying all of them without giving up this body, without needing to go to Swarga and various lokas, including Brahmaloka, etc. And who is this person? Ātma-avidyā. Ātma-avidyā. Because he is Shrotriya, well studied from a sound lineage. What is a sound lineage? A lineage that makes a sound. No, a lineage that does not distort the message of the Upanishads. And makes it abundantly clear that this is the message of the Upanishad, this oneness, this non-duality. And so for such a person, all the levels of Ananda, not just on this earth, on this visible plane, but also on the other lokas, other planes, parallel universes, whatever you want to call them, all of them are available sitting here and now. The question is why and how? Because they know the only thing that needs to be known, which is what? Satyam Jnanam. This much we have seen. Satyam Jnanam. Satyam means that which is without a second, existence, Satyam. That which simply is in an untime-bound way. So is becomes what? Isness. And this isness, everything, it encompasses everything, leaves out nothing. Yeah, please close that door when you come in. Yeah, there we go. Leaves out nothing, encompasses everything. So everything that is in a particular form, with a particular name, at a particular time, is not without Sat. Yesterday the satsang question was very interesting. When you perceive a smell, what was the argument? The eyes are, the nose is active. When you see a form, the eyes are active. Eyes and nose we are seeing. And then the brain interprets, okay, this is rose, this is lily, etc. What is the role of consciousness? Consciousness is that which lights up the mind, lends its light, so to speak. Light means knowledge. That Sat, which is at once Chit. It means Jnanam. It's a sentient Sat. The nature of the existence is sentient. How do you know? Because I am sentient. That's the only way. No other way. The nature of this Satyam is sentient. It's a sentient Sat. And so therefore, I know I am. And that's that all knowledge existence. That is what lights up the mind, lights up the brain, lights up the sense organs in the form of the sense of smell, taste, touch, sight, hearing, etc. When the consciousness withdraws, then if the consciousness were to withdraw, no perception takes place. And this is what is the opening mantra of the Drik Drishya Viveka. Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drik. When there is a form to see, who is the seer? The eyes are the seer. But then there is some disturbance in the eyes. You look in the mirror. What happened to my eyes? Tad drishtva, when that becomes an object, driktu manasam, the mind or the brains, whatever you want to call it, that is the seer. But then, dhivrittayaha drishyaha. Even the vrittis, the thoughts in the mind, are also objects. And then what? They are also objectifiable. They are objectified. Then, who is the seer? Sakshi. Sakshi drik eva. Natu drishyate. That Sakshi is never seen. Never an object. Always the subject. So therefore this Satyam Jnanam is Brahman, the one who knows. Enjoys, we can't even say enjoys. Here again we are at a loss for words. Is Ananda. Even though we say Brahmanaha Anandam, Brahman's Ananda they enjoy, but it is like saying Rahu's head. Rahu doesn't have a head. Why? Because Rahu is all head. All head, only head. So Rahu's head, if you say, it is just some kind of a upachara. Upachara means just for the sake of saying it, we say that. So therefore, this much if we have understood, then we can look at the last word that is defining Brahman in this mantra, which is what? Anantam. Anantam. Anantam means endless, limitless. Limitless, endless, always there. And this is very interesting. Yeah, can we close those doors, please, over there? Thank you. Anantam, limitless and endless. And what is endless? Brahman itself is endless. Limitless, does not come to an end because did not have a beginning. Cannot come to an end, no beginning, no end. This is what it is, limitless. And when we talk of limitations, it is threefold limitations. What are they? Time-wise, kalataha, time-wise limitations. And then here, you can sit there, space-wise limitation. Deshataha, space-wise, kalataha, and then that time-space limitations we understand. But in Sanskrit we have even one more object, object-wise limitation, which is funny, which we don't have a concept in English. But we can say that if something is an elephant, it cannot be an ant at the same time. It's confined to being a particular object, whether it's big or small. That is object-wise limitation. And the word Anantam comes at the end because in a way it uplifts the word and clarifies the words Satyam and Jnanam even further. What kind of Satyam? Anantam Sat. Anantam Jnanam. Limitless knowledge. Limitless knowledge means no limitations in the form of the knower, no limitations in the form of the known. If it's just an object, then it has limitations. Because it is an object of knowledge, it is deprived from being the subject. That's one kind of a limitation. If I am an agent of knowledge, I am not at once the object, another kind of limitation. If there is a means of knowledge, the means of knowledge is neither the knower nor the known, but it is stuck to being a means of knowledge, yet one more kind of limitation. So Anantam Jnanam means this threefold truncated idea of subject, object and means, instrument is not there. This is also technically called Karaka Upamardhanam, the killing off of all factors involved in knowledge. That's why in the 4th chapter we have this mantra. 4th chapter of what? That is the question. 4th chapter of what? Bhagavad Gita. When, 4th chapter means it has to be Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. And this we chant before meals. Brahmarpanam, Brahma Havihi, Brahmagnau, Brahmanahutam, Brahmaiva tena gantavyam, Brahma karma samadhina. It's all a very beautiful understanding. The whole thing is extremely wonderful because we have a very systematic unfoldment. It's all just in the form of a yajna. Who is doing the yajna? Okay, let me give you a hint. The answer to any question I ask is Brahman. Okay. Who is doing the yajna? Yeah, me as Brahman. Okay. Then what is the fire? Brahman. And then what are the wood sticks? Brahman. What is the pit, the place, the holy pit in which the yajna is offered? And what is the ghee? And then what is the reward, the karma phala that one gains as a result of this yajna? Brahman. To whom does it accrue? Brahman. And what is the goal? Who is the sojourner? Brahman. Who is the one searching for the goal? Brahman. This is what is called Anandam Brahma. Everything is Brahman. Brahman is not any one thing at all. It's very, very fascinating. This is why Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, they are not adjectives. They are not attributes. They are not adjectives. What are they? Definition. Defining words. Specific only to Brahman. No other thing. No other thing is worth being called Satyam, worth being called Jnanam, worth being called Anantam. Because it just isn't. And so when we have this understanding, then there is nothing else there. What else is there other than Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam? Wherever you see Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, there is a song, Sarvam Brahmamayam Re Re. Sarvam Brahmamayam, everything is Brahman alone. Just like this verse from the Bhagavad Gita. From there only the idea is taken. Everything is Brahman. Singer is Brahman, song is Brahman, singing is Brahman. There is nothing there. This is what is called Paramarthika Satta. This much is understood. People like it. But then the question always comes. Today it will come for Swami Muktatmananda ji. Paramarthika, there are no problems, but how to relate it to the day-to-day? What to do about the day-to-day? Let us discuss that right now. And let us see how that is. First of all, in this understanding that everything, there is no everything. All that is here is one non-dual Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, which happens to be called Brahman. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam are like a little signpost. They are not the name for Brahman. Brahman itself is like a signpost. It indicates that which is self-evident. It's like when you stop somewhere, when you're driving and you stop at a rest area and you're hungry and it says restaurant and there is a little finger pointing that way. Then it's not that you start breaking off that sign and start eating it, okay? Yeah. It's pointing to something. That's where you look. You don't catch hold of the sign. It is pointing to something that is self-evident here. So the words Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, they point to me. But why do I need pointing? Because even though I'm present, even though I'm all knowledge, I'm not understanding this due to self-ignorance. Sometimes you don't know that you are the one being pointed at. It happens in a crowd of people. If somebody goes like this, you look behind. Or maybe it's the person behind me. So that's why the pointing is there, just enough to recognize that. So the pointing, the words that point are really not the words that describe. There is no word to describe the I. Nothing. Brahman indicatory word, Atma indicatory word, Chit indicatory word, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam indicatory words. It's recognized because I happen to be self-evident, self-effulgent, self-reflexive, self-aware. So immediately I understand, oh, this is me. Oh, it's pointing to me, the self-existent me. And then it becomes fun. Then what else is there? Nothing else is there. Then what is the relationship of this Brahman to the Jagat? This question again really has no answer because there is no relationship. It's the same as the relationship between you and your shadow. You don't write a thesis, me and my shadow. It's not even a subject matter for a blog. Forget a thesis. There is nothing to talk about. The 8th chapter of the Panchadashi is a very nice concluding verse. Maya megho jaganniram varshatu esha yada tada chida kashasya kahanihi kolabha iti sthitihi. Sthitihi, this knowledge. Sthiti here means the abidance in this knowledge is like this, iti. And what is it? What is it like? Like thus means like what? Maya megha. Maya means the Ishvara Srishti. Even you can add Jiva Srishti there. Ishvara Srishti, the Ishvara's creation. And then even included in that is Jiva's creation. Nobody loves me. Why me? What's wrong with me? Why is everybody out to get me? All these things. All that can be included. Maya megha. It's like a rain cloud. The Jagat is like a rain cloud. And then the Maya is like a rain cloud. Creation is like a rain cloud. Whether it's your own subjective creation or it's objective creation called Ishvara's creation, both of them are like a rain cloud. What is the rain cloud known to do? Rain. I'm glad nobody said Brahman. Because the answer was Brahman earlier. Varshatu esha. Let her rain. Rain cloud rains. Let it rain. Yada tada, yatha katha. Let her, yatra tatra means here, there. Let it rain. If there is a rain cloud, then I need not be bothered. Let it rain. So the Jagat is the rain and Maya, the creative Shakti of Brahman, Ishvara, is the cloud. So when there is cloud, definitely there is rain. You see outside today for that matter, like right now. Varshatu esha yatha tatha yada kada. Let it rain whenever it wants to. Because chidakashasya ka hanihi ko labhaha iti sthitihi. Chidakasha means space. Chidakasha means the space that is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. The space that is equated to Chit. The space that is equated to Chit. Chit here, don't get confused with Chittam. Chittam means emotions. Chit means what? Jnanam, consciousness. Very good. So this awareness, this consciousness is space. So when Maya reigns in the space-like awareness, and what does Maya reign? In the form of the Jagat. This one did this, that one did that. Nobody likes me. There is so much injustice in the whole universe. What is going on? Where is the world coming to? There is daylight robbery. So many things are going wrong. Everybody is telling lies. The one who is saying everybody is telling lies is no Harishchandra. But still, Harishchandra was known for truth speaking all the time. But still, this is how we look at it. But here, the author of the Panchadashi, Svatmavidyananda, gives a brilliant last verse of this chapter 8. And let it rain. Chidakasha. You are Chidakasha. You are that space. The space of awareness, the inner space that is there. You are that which is untouched, which is totally unconnected to anything. Let it rain, let there be a tsunami, let there be a torrent, let there be a deluge called Jagat. So in this rain, when it rains, does space get wet? Whoever said yes, see me after class. Okay. Does space get wet? No. Think about it. Space cannot get wet. We are not talking of atmosphere. We are not talking of humidity. We are talking of space, one of the 5 elements, which is untouched by the other 4 elements. Water cannot damage space. Therefore, space cannot get wet. So therefore, Varshatu esha, let Maya rain. Pun intended. Chidakashasya ka hanihi. The Chidakasha, the space-like awareness, does not get damaged, does not become a wet rag, does not become depressed, does not shrink, does not have some kind of a mold or mildew growing on it because it is raining. And neither is it parched. Space is parched and it hasn't rained for a long time. Space is waiting for rain. No, earth is waiting for rain. Trees, plants, the foliage is waiting for rain. Animals are waiting for rain. Space is certainly not waiting for rain. The rain makes no difference to space. So too, in the space-like awareness, why one Jagat? Let 100 Jagats rain. There is no labha. Labha means gain. And there is no hani. What is hani? Loss. No loss, no gain. Nothing to gain with so many Jagats, parallel universes, or even one Jagat, whatever you want to think about it. Nothing to gain from this Jagat, which is a mere drizzle. A drizzle of this Chidakasha, a drizzle of this Maya Shakti. So that it need not affect space. And what is this space? In the example, the space is like that which is exemplified, space like consciousness, vast. It upholds the rain without getting affected by the rain. It's just so beautiful. So then there is no relationship between this Akasha, this inner space, which has been Vedantified, which has undergone Vedanta Shastra teaching, where there has been this Ishvarification, the first step, which is the Ishvarization of the whole Jagat. And then, after this Ishvarization is complete, then we can say, oh, this is just water off a duck's back, doesn't affect me. I can easily rise above this because I am Chidakasha. I don't even need a towel to dry off because I am free of this completely. I am not mired in this at all. The advice is to lead one's life this way. Do you see how the Pratibhasika Satta, what is Pratibhasika Satta? What you had for lunch today, okay? And the subjective reality. My own reality, whether it is true or not, when you say, I see it, therefore it is there. This is Pratibhasika Satta, okay? I see it, I experience it, therefore it must be there. This is subjective personal reality. The personal reality is included in Ishvara's reality, the objective reality. Objective reality means it is there, therefore I see it and you see it also. The emperor's clothes, Pratibhasika Satta, from the standpoint of the emperor, okay? But the little child that was courageous enough to say, Mom, Dad, the emperor is naked, the king is naked, Vyavaharika Satta. That everybody could see. Only the emperor thought, oh, I'm wearing special clothes. Even though nobody can see it, I'm having it. So, emperor's clothes, from the standpoint of the emperor, Pratibhasika Satta. From the standpoint of everybody else, Vyavaharika Satta. Both these orders of reality fold up. In this vast awareness, all that is there is I alone, all that is there. Everything is just happening, and it's a little, perhaps a little annoyance at best, not even that. It's just like when you open the weather app and then you see it is raining somewhere and you don't even live there. It makes no difference. Or if you're staying inside and then it is raining outside, it makes no difference at all. In the same way, this is exactly how the teaching unfolds. In the same way, what Satta? What Jagat? Where is it? What Vyavaharika? This is the end point of the teaching. This is where it has to stop. This is as far as there is to go. But to get to that, first we reckon with the Pratibhasika. We go to the other side, the I side, and then we go to understand what is this Pratibhasika. The Pratibhasika means series of complaints and all subjective perceptions, sorrow, pain, and what else? The guilt, hurt, all the emotions come under Pratibhasika Satta. Which is why the resolution has to take place. The resolution takes place because the words Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, are not just a definition of Brahman, but they also function, they also double up as a Mahavakya. A Mahavakya is a sentence that unfolds the oneness between Ishvara and the jaded, faded Jiva. Hapless, hopeless, helpless Jiva. That is a Mahavakya. Jiveshvarayoho aikyam vakyam Mahavakyam. Aikya, oneness, is unfolded. How? Because when you say Satyam, it exists. We are talking of Brahman. We are talking of that which is the cause of the universe because it exists, and that isness is spread out as the source of everything is this Satyam. Without Satyam, nothing exists. And so this Brahman has a causality, as it were, imbued upon it. And then the word Jnanam clinches it. Jnanam means consciousness, awareness. That awareness which, as it were, morphs or lends itself to appearing as the agent of knowledge, karta, as the object of knowledge, karma, and as the means of knowledge, pramana. Pramana, pramata, prameya, all these differences are as though, but that consciousness, which can only be understood as I, the word jnanam brings in the I. The I that was full of, the I that was rolling in self-pity is shaken off and then revealed as this Chidakasha, as this space-like consciousness without a second. And then it is eternally so anantam. That is a Mahavakya. So in this Mahavakya, everything is subsumed. Your own creations, your pains, your sorrows, your connection to the universe, or your difficulties with various people in the universe, everything is included and subsumed and transcended in that, in just this Mahavakya. But the beauty of it is that we went step by step. First you look at Pratibhasika, acknowledge that there is Pratibhasika. Even the Upanishad acknowledges that. Why didn't I do the right thing? Kim aham sadhuna karavam. Why did I make a mistake? Why did I not do this? Regret. The regret comes because there is an identification as the doer. And when you identify as the doer, then all the things that are there, they are done. And then you see them, and then already the I is hypercritical. A hypercritical I keeps on second-guessing itself. There is self-judgment, there is self-loath, there is fear, and all these things are already there. And so the questioning keeps on coming. Why did I do this? Why was I such an idiot? Why did I say this? Why did I do this? Pratibhasika. Identifying as karta is very, very burdensome because you carry the guilt with you. You carry a whole baggage of guilt. That is why karma yoga, that is why understanding Ishvara as the doer. All these things we do. We don't take it on. That is the practice. Why didn't I do the right thing? Why am I such an idiot? This is all coming from the wrong identification of oneself as karta. The over-identification of oneself as karta definitely leads to guilt. I don't see it leading anywhere else. There is a baggage of guilt because the recipe is there. So mix kartritvam, doership, with the pratibhasika satta, which is I don't love myself. And then unnaturally I don't like what I have done. Guilt is there. Then, when one identifies as the bhokta, Bhokta means as an object of other people's doings, as an experiencer of what? Of other people's doings. Then there is hurt. First stanza of this kriti, this song, this composition is why did I do this? Why did I not do this? And what is the second stanza? Why did they do this? Why did they not do this? I should have known better. First stanza. They should have known better. First and second stanza. I didn't wish this so and so for their birthday. Oh no, how could I have been an idiot? And then what is the second stanza? But that doesn't mean they should have not wished me for my birthday. Idiots. Other people's omissions and commissions, because I become the object of their omissions and commissions. Since there is the unconscious, then there is that identification with that unconscious. One becomes a child. I learnt a new word this weekend, or in the last 3-4 days. Kidult. So, a kid who is an adult, or an adult who behaves like a kid, I suppose. Kidult. So one is an adult, but there is a kind of a truncated, frozen child inside that is not reckoned with. This is what the unconscious mind is all about. A child who had its balloon popped by the elder sibling at age 2, still lamenting that at 82. And even at the 92nd birthday, if somebody gives them 100 balloons, they will say, no, I still want that balloon which was burst by the elder brother or sister. This is what are called frozen needs. That which are unfulfillable, cannot be fulfilled. Something happened for which nobody is to blame, except perhaps the order of karma. That's all it is. There were no primary caregivers. What were they? Scaregivers. Very good. They were primary scaregivers. And then inconsistent in their presence, inconsistent in their absence, always non-attentive, neglectful, perhaps abusive. All this from age 0 to 4, this is all suppressed in childhood, because the child cannot grow up healthily while dealing with this. It doesn't have the brain power to deal with this. The brain is still developing. And then later on, when the child is an adult, then only it can process things. Usually when there is a trustworthy relationship. When one can finally be safe enough to feel unsafe. It is finally safe enough to feel unsafe. And so the significant other gets the brunt of it all. How could you do this? You always do this. And the significant other helpfully points out, what do you mean always? We have only been dating for 2 weeks. And then, oh, okay, this is not about this. If one is intelligent enough, one understands that the roots of these go far back. So Vedanta does not point a finger at the Jagat. Vedanta also does not point a finger at oneself. If you really want to point a finger, you just look at Ishvara. That's all it is. It's not even about blaming Ishvara. It's about understanding that there is an arrangement. This is what Gaudapadacharya said in the Mandukya Karika. Sakashayam vijaniyat. Know that the mind is, every mind, mind you, is with the unconscious. And reducing the pratibhasika means unhooking the mind from the unconscious gently. How? By consciously parenting the inner child. Sometimes this is very hard to do without help. That's why we have therapy, we have yoga, you can write it out. There are many things, many aids and tools in the form of workbooks and what else, the YouTube videos, so many things are there. One has to learn to parent that reparent that inner child. Because it belongs to you. You can't outsource it and babysit it. Give it to somebody else to babysit. The significant other. You can't tell the significant other, I have these 3 brats, please take care of them. What will the significant other say? Sure, I have 6 of them, mine, I'm going to give them all to you. In the beginning you may say, oh, how cute, what a change from my own. But very soon you are going to get tired of them. That is called the end of the honeymoon period. You have to babysit them. You have to give them space because they have been suppressed for so long. And the more they are suppressed, the more of an inauthentic life that one leads. So they need a little bit of airtime where they don't hurt themselves, they don't hurt anyone else either. You have to consciously say, I'm going to be here for you. What will the inner child say? Yeah, right. I don't trust you at all. And then you have to say, yes, I know I have completely, I know I have completely let you down. I haven't been there for you. I know I have done this. But from now on, I'm going to be there for you. The inner child says, let's see. Let's see what you do. Then you make a pact with the inner child or the inner children as they may be. You say, okay, I will spend time with you, but then you are not going to burst out like a volcano whenever you want. When I'm in company, when I'm in the middle of a big meeting, you don't come out. You don't come out in the form of all kinds of omissions, commissions, and some kind of a lack and fear, etc. I'll spend not now, later. And after you win the trust of the inner child, then it will oblige. It will allow you to be. And then you have to spend time with it afterwards. Then you look into the spoof, and along with Vedanta, it's very, very easy to reparent the inner child because you look at the spoof of this whole Jagat. And the meditation is the key. Really, without meditation, we can kiss ātma-avidyā goodbye. Because there are 2 things here, chitta shuddhi and chitta naishchalyam, the ability to focus and the inner cleansing. Both happen with meditation. Inner cleansing means, for the body, we have shower, and then we have soap. What is the soap for the antahkarana? Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshinamurtaye Mahyam Shriyam Medham Prajnam Prayacha Swaha. That is the soap. What you did for 2.5 hours today, what we did, that is the soap. That is the soap that cleanses the inner instrument which has to be kept clear of the disease of pratibhasika. Pratibhasika is a disease. That is of which samsara is the symptom. 2 people and there will be 100 opinions. Why this happened, why that happened, what happens, each one from their own subjectivity. In fact, it's all subjectivity. Everybody has an opinion. Sometimes each one has 3 opinions. So the japa, the more one is in meditation, the greater the focus and the easier to let go. Because that's what you're doing in meditation. Thought comes, you let go, you watch the mind. Another thought comes, you say, no, not now. You watch the mind. Third thought comes, you watch the mind. And then you replace it with a mantra. You replace the thoughts with the mantra because the mantra becomes the thought. I tell the mind to think and I tell the mind what to think. Oh mind, think Om Namah Shivaya. Oh, okay, I'll try it out. Om Namah Shivaya. What shall I do next? Another Om Namah Shivaya. Oh, really? Om Namah Shivaya. What shall I do now? Om Namah Shivaya. Oh, this is getting very boring. Are we there yet? No. Om Namah Shivaya. The mind will go. Because everything else is infinitely more interesting to the mind than the japa. That is why in the beginning I recommend OMM. What is OMM? 1 minute meditation. Just do for 1 minute. You can do anything for 1 minute. Just watch the breath, watch the mind. And make a pact with yourself. Find out what happens when the unconscious comes out. There are some general symptoms which we can talk about. The general symptoms are heavy and intense breathing, tearing up, a blinding rage that comes in the head, and choice 4-letter words on the lips. All these are symptoms of the unconscious mind coming out to play. And just some rounds of deep breathing, not acting, deep breathing, watching the anger, watching the mind. Already relaxing. It's very relaxing. Already it goes away. Nobody even has to know about it. Nobody has to know that, oh, suddenly there was this huge volcano which was slowly thwarted. And you're able to smile, the sun comes out again, the rain cloud is gone. So these are some general triggers. There may be some specific triggers you understand. Maybe the jaw clenches, maybe the fists clench. Maybe you feel like withdrawing and walking away. These are the signs to just stop. Stop whatever it is you're doing. Just breathe. It's a huge thing. And so from close eye meditation, we graduate to open eye meditation. Yatra yatra mano yati, again to quote the Drigdrishya Viveka, tatra tatra samadhayah. The Pratibhasika ends up in a samadhi resolution. Because what happens is that all these thoughts come up. And where do they come up? They come up, let's say, in between one chant and the other. So in meditation, we always advise to pay close attention to the space between the two chants. Because when you're saying Om Namah Shivaya, everything is okay because the mind has something to do. But then between Om Namah Shivaya number 1 and Om Namah Shivaya number 2 is a mischief spot. Because the mind doesn't have anything to do. So immediately it will think of all bygones without letting them be bygones. It will think of all the things gone by, the regrets, the hurts, the pain, the sorrow. That's why we focus on the space between the chants. It's very, very interesting. The Mandukya Upanishad talks about this very nicely. So when I chant, there is consciousness. There is consciousness. Consciousness. There is the presence of Satyam Jnanam Anantam, Satchidananda Atma, Brahmatma as I. And then, along with this consciousness plus chant. Chant, consciousness is. Then, the next time you chant, consciousness is. In between the first chant consciousness being present and the second chant consciousness being present, what is there? Consciousness, Abba. I'm glad nobody said nothing. Okay. Otherwise I would have to see you after class. So, chant consciousness is, no chant consciousness is. Chant consciousness is, no chant consciousness is. This is on the Vyashti level. Vyashti means on the individual level. Chant consciousness is, no chant consciousness is. Consciousness still is. So what is this chant consciousness is? Or thought consciousness is, regret consciousness is, fear consciousness is, pratibhasika consciousness is, guilt consciousness is, hurt consciousness is. Still it is just consciousness plus a little value added thing which is mithya, which comes and goes, which depends upon consciousness anyway. Without consciousness it doesn't have a leg to stand on. This is on the individual level. And when we watch this, the pratibhasika reduces. The subjective reality reduces through the regular practice of meditation. Any kind of meditation, even if you are, some people tell me, I'm unable to chant the mantra, doesn't matter. Stare at the ceiling. Just be with yourself. Breathe. Watch the mind. Watch the thoughts. That itself is a huge progress in terms of rolling up the pratibhasika satta as a carpet and putting it away. Living squarely in the vyavaharika, in the empirical world of objects and subject, I. Chant consciousness is, no chant consciousness is. This is at the individual Vyashti level. Then at the collective level, consciousness, Brahman is, Brahman plus Jagat is, Brahman plus lokas are, Brahman plus so many kinds of creation is. That the silence between the two chants is like Brahman without the Jagat. It's not that you have to wait for the Jagat to go. Cognitively, it is just not even there. All that is here is I. But what about the troublemaker? That's also an extension of me. What about this one? That too is an extension of me. This too is me. There is nothing other than me. This is where we get to. And that is how, first, on this end, the pratibhasika, the subjective reality is rolled up and put away. I am firmly in the objective reality. In all the things in the Jagat, first it is very difficult to say all this is me, 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 and therefore what? All this is Ishvara. This Ishvarization, we studied this step by step. This is what we have to recall, how to Ishvarize the entire universe of names and forms. Everything is Ishvara, everything is part of the order of Ishvara. It's an order I do not like, yes, that too is Ishvara. The fact that I don't like it is Ishvara. So then, when that is there, when one is able to firmly and objectively live in this universe without blaming oneself or another, while seeing it, everything as this is exactly how it is meant to be. Yes, do I have agency? Yes. Do I have free will? Yes. Can I do something about it? Yes. Then do. Oh, but it is of no use. Then don't. We are talking of that which is inevitable. We are not talking of things over which we have control or we have some say. If you have some say, do it. No problem. We are not talking of that at all. We are talking of that over which we have no say, regardless of whatever we do. We are just hitting our heads against a wall. We are talking of those situations. That is Ishvara. And then seeing it as that, accepting everything, including my non-acceptance. And for that we need devotion, we need surrender, we need all these things to come in place. Then we can go to the level of Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. And everything is like a little rain falling off the buffalo's back. The buffalo standing in the rain doesn't even know it has rained. But that's not a good example, because buffalo is an embodiment of tamas, ignorance. That's why the one of the last chapters of the, what is that called? The last verses of chapter 8 of Panchadashi is very, very nice. Maya megha jagat neeram. Jagat is the water that rains from the cloud called Maya, the creative power of Ishvara, and also your own creative power in the form of that which spews out subjective reality. And then the Jagat, your own Jagat, or the Ishvara's Bhagavan Jagat, that is the water, that is the rain. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. Sung to the tune of Let It Snow. Okay? Yeah. Let it rain. It has no effect on me, the Chidabhasa. This is where one has to go. And that is why the mantra says, Yato vacho nivartante. This is not something for the faculty of speech to objectify, to nail it, to kill it, to catch it, to collect it, to box it in a place in the mind. And the mind also beats a retreat. This Ananda, this limitlessness, which is Brahman, which is the birthright of the Brahmavit, the knower of Brahman, knows everything. Knower of Brahman knows everything. The knower of Brahman enjoys everything because there is no sense of deprivation. Fulfillment, which is Brahman, and deprivation do not go together at all. And so therefore, these two are completely contrary. The knower of Brahman is a fulfilled person, therefore the desires are not there, because all desires are only to understand oneself as whole, free of the sting of pratibhasika. That's all it is. All desires are for that. If you look deeply into any desire, it is just to be free of all desiring, free of being a wanting person. That is really the only desire. So the Brahman knower is a fulfilled person, and the fulfilled person is not trying to catch hold of Brahman. Therefore the mind and the words just completely fail trying to catch hold of Brahman. Na tapati, and the Brahman knower does not have any regrets. And what is the regrets? Why did I do this? Why didn't I do this? What is wrong with me? These regrets are not there. Since there are no desires, the knower of Brahman becomes an altar of surrender for all other desires of people who do have desires. Just like Bhagavan. Bhagavan fulfills desires because Bhagavan doesn't have any competing desires of their own. That's why here also the Brahmavit becomes an altar of surrender for people who have desires, including the desire for moksha. In the Mundaka Upanishad, to conclude, it is said, ātma-avidyā hi archayet bhūtikāmaha. Not just muktikāmaha, bhūtikāmaha. Bhūtikāmaha means those with material desires may please worship the Atma-jnani, because the Atma-jnani is free of desires, and then if your prarabdha allows it, then that person becomes an altar of worship for your desires to come true. And that is why this understanding that one is naturally free of guilt and hurt becomes a very important, both a first step and a destiny of the mumukshu, of the jignasu. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.